So now we are going to make rich chocolate mocha brownies, okay. So brownies are basically fudgy, they have to be fudgy, and when we are making cakes, they have to be very airy and spongy. In brownies, we have to avoid making the brownies being airy and rise and then being very spongy. So when you're making cakes, there are methods that we call creaming method, right? So we add the butter and the sugar and we beat it for a longer period of time, incorporating a lot of air to make the cake very light. So in making brownies, we have to avoid that step. So overbeating is not required or not to be done when making brownies. So we don't have a hand beater or even a KitchenAid. There could be recipes which use that and the technique could be different, but the one that we are going to do now is going to have a fudgy brownie, which is also going to be dense, and that is how it's supposed to be. So we are going to use a wire whisk, okay. So I'm going to brief you the ingredients that we are going to use. So the dry ingredients will be the all-purpose flour, cocoa powder, baking powder, salt, okay. So we will be sifting all these together to start with, and then we have butter. So butter is going to be melted, and then we'll add brown sugar into it and then mix, and then we have 2 eggs. We'll be adding one by one and then whisk together with the butter and the brown sugar, and then we have vanilla extract, and then finally we'll add all the dry ingredients into the batter and then mix it, okay. And then we have coffee powder and water. So we are going to heat the water and then add the coffee. We're basically making black coffee, but we are using the instant coffee powder with water. Then water has to be hot, and that will be the last process. So we will be heating it because it needs to be hot when it goes into the batter. So water has to be heated at the end when we near that step, okay. So so these are the ingredients. I'm just setting them aside, and to start with, let's prepare the pan. I have a 5-inch by 5-inch cake pan. You could also use a cake ring, right? So brownies, basically because they are fudgy, and then there is quite a good amount of cocoa powder, and there are some recipes which uses chocolate as well. So they tend to stick to the pan even with a lot of flouring and buttering the pan. So I generally want to keep removing the brownie from the pan a bit more easily, okay. So the first step is to prepare the pan, for which I'm going to insert the pan that I want to use, and that's a bit of aluminium foil. So now I'm using the aluminium foil on the top of an inverted cake pan, okay, and then I'm just going to make a marking. So it just takes the shape of the pan. Okay, once that is done, gently just get the foil out. So this will be in the shape of the pan. Now put the pan right side up and send it in, so it goes and fits in properly, okay. So also have this hangout of the foil outside of the pan. Both the sides or just 2 sides should also be fine. If you've crushed 2 sides and if it is inside, doesn't matter. So I just want to have 2 sides of hangout. So once the brownies are done, it is easier to use the hangout and then pull the foil out, so the brownies come out of the pan easily. Also, it's important when you are just trying to fit the foil in the pan, you try not to cut the foil or make holes in the foil. So there could be possibility that the batter goes and sticks in the foil, in the pan, okay. So in that case, then when you are lifting, then you might find it difficult to pull the baked brownies out, okay. So into this, when you are going to remove it and then peel the brownie, the aluminium foil, you want the foil to come out easily. So this is melted butter, and that's a pastry brush, okay. So I'm just going to go in and then brush butter. So this will help the foil to be peeled out. Also want to brush the sides. all four sides. So that will be the first step to prepare the pan, and we'll just set that aside. Okay, and for the brownies, the oven needs to be preheated at 180 degrees Celsius. You keep the oven running until you're ready to put the prepared batter with the pan into the oven. Okay, so now for the second step, we'll have the dry ingredients sifted. We'll have the all-purpose flour, cocoa powder, baking powder, and salt. I'm just going to sift it. So I'm just going to set this aside. And now the process starts with melting the butter, for which I have the induction stove and the saucepan. Okay, into this I'm going to add the butter. Now once the butter is melted, I'm going to transfer the melted butter into a bowl on which I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. So it's enough if the butter is melted. You don't want to allow it to come to a boil. So once you see the butter is fully melted, you want to transfer that into another bowl. Okay. So into the melted butter, now I'm going to add the brown sugar, and mix it together. Now I just want to whisk it a bit, so I'm going to use the wire whisk. Here's where, if you're using a hand beater, it would incorporate more air, but for the brownies we have to avoid doing that step. So use a wire whisk and mix it. So at this step you are not going to wait for the sugar to melt, because it's not going to happen. You just need to give a little time for the butter to cool down, because when adding the egg, you don't want the egg to scramble with the hot butter. So that's how it's going to look like. Okay, and then I'm going to add the eggs one at a time. Break the egg and then mix it. And you want to wait until each egg is incorporated properly. So after the addition of one egg, it's going to look like this. And then I'm adding the second egg as well. Break the egg and then continue whisking. Into this, I'm going to add the vanilla extract. So that is how it is going to look like after the addition of egg. By this time you can see the sugar which was not melted when we added it into the butter. Now after the addition of the eggs, the extract, and keeping on whisking for just not too much time, like a minute or two it's been now, but you can see the sugar is also getting incorporated. Okay, now into this I need to add the flour which we have already sifted and kept. Okay, so the flour mixture goes in. I'm going to gently mix it. I'm going to start using the silicone spatula. Okay, I'm just going to scrape down the sides, get all the flour incorporated properly. So into this I need to add the hot coffee. So I just have the water boiled. It has to boil. Okay, I just had it done now, and I'm going to add the hot water, it's quite hot, into the instant coffee powder and then mix it. Okay, so once that is mixed, we add this hot coffee into the batter and fold it again until the hot coffee is properly incorporated. So the batter is going to look like this, smooth but not too watery and not too thick as well. Okay, so now I have the prepared pan here, right? Into this I'm going to pour the batter. So once the batter is poured, We just need to tap the pan once or twice to release any air bubbles. We just okay. So I'm just going to tap it. Okay, and this needs to go into the oven to get baked for about 25 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius, and I'll get back once the brownie has been baked. So we have the rich chocolate mocha brownies that we used eggs and baked is now out of the oven. So I'm just going to remove this out of the pan, and that's why the foil hanging is very helpful. So I'm just going to, because we added butter, so the sides are just going to come out easily as well. I'm just going to cut the slice and then show it to you. We have a cutting mat here. So this looks really nice. So let me just, now if we are going to use this entire thing and then make it into like 4 squares is ideal. So we could just cut out the outer layer. So we have the all 4 sides without the dents, because the dents have come because of the foil that we had used. So you can see the texture of the brownie. It's nice and dense and fudgy, right? Okay, so now here I'm just going to look for the middle. Okay. So you can see the brownie, look at the texture, it looks very nice and fudgy. On the sides that it has got baked, the outside that we cut out to remove the crust looks like this, but the inside is just beautiful. And that is what we are looking at in a brownie. And these brownies we have flavored them with mocha, and there is no other addition. But if we have to make these brownies with more additions, where you could use some mixed nuts or chopped chocolates or maybe chocolate chips, or then you can have nuts or chocolate chips added on the top as well. So other variations we have learnt it in some of the other brownies as well, but this one let's do it plain, but also have the understanding that with this one brownie we could do a lot of other variations as well.